Thank you for joining us today. We hope this talk broadens your horizons and takes you to new learning heights.
So even before, during my 12th standard itself, I know I love computer and I want to pursue a career in computer science. But I was not good at anything. Like I don't know any coding or I have no idea about any such stuff. But I was pretty sure like I want to be in tech and I want to develop some products. And that's why I chose the BTech in computer science. And when I did my bachelor's, I took a 1 year to just figure out like what's my passion or which direction should I move and everything like that. And once I explored that, I was pretty sure like, okay, this is the kind of job I need. I need to be in a product based company. I want to develop certain products that help some users. So like from pretty that day onwards, I started working towards that goal.
Okay. So you've been through your own experiences in terms of getting hands-on knowledge and experience. Maybe let's talk about your days of internship. How did you go about applying for that internship, and what were you thinking at that point of time?
Yeah, for the internship, I really have to thank to my university LPU because they were the one who got me an opportunity there.
Mhm.
And it was really surprising for me because it was the perfect company for me to start my career because they were working with advanced search and recommendations, machine learning and NLP, such stuff. And that's my core passion. That's all I wanted to do, like in whole my career. So that was the perfect match for me. And for the interview, I did prepared like for a month for that interview. I got the internship, and from there I learned a lot about machine learning, how the work and how the studies are different. Like I got experience that on first hand, and that opened up my mind actually.
Okay. So maybe let's talk about the kind of work that you were doing your internship, and how was it, since you mentioned that it's different from your work at the college or the classes that you attend. So can you maybe compare those two?
Yeah. So first thing is the life is entirely different than what you can imagine as a work, because in a product based companies, the work culture is pretty much relaxed. You don't have to be in your formals. You don't have to come at 9 o'clock and leave at 5 or nothing like that. It's pretty cool and chill life. Like you can come at any time. You just need to do your work, and you can like have a good bonding with all your colleagues. And most all of your colleagues will be like pretty genius, and you can learn a lot from them. And from them I learned like nobody's going to like teach you something. It's all about exploring, all about like using your ideas and implementing it, and how to scaling up all the products. It's not just theoretical thing. You have to scale all the codes or stuff you're building it up. So learning that, and it's a big learning curve. And once you know like how to do that learning part, it will really help you to like crack anything in your path.
Right. So I understand at one point of time you were thinking about pursuing your master's and higher
Yes.
studies,
Yeah.
and then it didn't happen. Let's talk about that story.
Yeah, so my plan was basically to work in an abroad country by the year 2022, and
Mhm.
I want to pursue a masters in 2020. So that 2 years I will do my masters, and after that I will get a job in 2020. So that was my plan, and I started applying in 2019. I did my IELTS and GRE, everything. I was applying to Canada, Germany, and all. And after that, at particular time, we got that COVID-19 situation, and they changed everything to online classes and stuff. But for me, the point of pursuing masters was to go into the country, explore the culture, make new connections, and have that experience. And I believe it will not happen while we do online. So I dropped the plan of masters, and from there onwards I started to prepare myself like how can I get directly from here to abroad without any masters. So that's how I went for that.
Okay. So Germany is not one of the countries most of the software engineers think about pursuing a job overseas, right?
Yeah.
So how did it happen that you turned your gaze towards Germany? happened to go on board with your current employer who's also based here. So how did that happen?
So it's an interesting story because for me, the goal was to go abroad in some European countries. So I was targeting mostly UK, Germany, Netherlands, and I was preparing for all the big companies for that. And I was lucky enough to get offers from multiple countries, but I choose Germany because first of all, Germany has a very good socio-economic culture, and work culture is pretty good. Like, you don't want to get exhausted by working here, especially it's a new place, new culture. You don't want to be stuck in like some rat race. So here I feel like it's awesome to have a job, and it's good enough, like payment is good enough, your colleagues are amazing, and the country itself is really pretty good. So I thought it's a good option, and it's easy to settle in future also.
Right. So one of the things that I'm sure that you must be experiencing, and since you mentioned like the culture of social welfare, right, and the
Yeah.
culture of having a right balance. So in those terms, what's the difference that you have felt like because you had a little bit of exposure of work in India as well, and then you are working now here. So what's the fundamental difference that you feel is there?
Yeah, so the fundamental difference is in India, we usually prefer like because we are brought up in a way that we give high preference to our either for our education or our for our career and stuff. So whenever works comes up, we just sacrifice most of our time and we do the work, even though it's not asked by anyone. But we just have that tendency to work more, perform more than what is expected and stuff like that. But when I came here, it's not even an expectation. Nobody expects you to work more than certain hours. Nobody expects you to do like a super hard job and stuff. Everyone expects to you have a good life first, then your career later. So I believe like as we grow and we get more older, like having a good work-life balance is really important, and
Yeah.
that's something like it's guaranteed here.
That's right. That's right. In the end, you can't really fault the Germans in working hard and playing hard.
Yeah.
So I think that they get it pretty right over here.
Yes.
So one of the things being that you prepared for your interviews, maybe you can shed some light on that. That how did you first of all go about selecting the companies? Because you mentioned that even there you took your time to identify the right fit employers and then preparing for the interview. So maybe you can walk us and the audiences through the process.
Yeah, so that's something I learned from my BTech times, because when we do BTech or when while we are in college, all we think about is we need to get some job or we need to get some X amount of packages and stuff like that. But what I learned is we should actually work on something that we really love about. Otherwise, at some point, you will get bored of that or you will hate it, and it will be a very difficult situation later on. So for me, like my passion is with machine learning and NLPs, all those kind of language models and stuff. And I always prefer to work with a team who does that.
Mhm.
So that's why like when I apply to certain companies, I make sure like they have this particular team, they have particular requirements of my skill set. Then only I
Mhm.
will apply it to them, even though the company might be like really good or really amazing to go, but they don't have certain team that I wanted, I will not apply to that.
Right.
So even in my BTech, like while placements were going on, like I didn't apply to certain big companies because they don't have certain need for me. So I didn't apply for that. So that's the same methodology I used here. So I applied for all the companies they have this skill, and while I was interviewing, I got the offers. I really did research like where I can have a good career growth. How are the colleagues there? If we need to have a good learning curve also there, like we need to have a good collaboration and stuff.
Right.
So overall, like I felt like my current company is the best to grow because everyone is like in a learning phase. Everyone is always learning, always researching, and that's something I can also learn from them. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Right. So, in terms of, you mentioned that teams which have a requirement for a certain specific role. So, how did you research that? How did you identify? Did you take up certain interviews just to, see that if you are yet there at the level of preparation?
Yeah, obviously. So I started my preparation around 2021, starting like January, February.
Mhm.
Because I know like I haven't studied anything for like past 4 years after my graduation. So I know like it will take some time to like get to the studies environment while working full time. So it took me like couple of months to just to get started. And while getting started, I made a good curriculum for myself, like what to study, which part to focus, and everything. So while studying, what I do is like I apply for some companies in India, mostly in India, where they will call me for interview. I'll just attend it because I just want to know like if I'm ready to give an actual interview for the companies I'm targeting for. So it's a give and take where you can learn. Like sometimes even if you learn a lot, but during the interviews you will go like you will be completely blank, even though you know answers. So just to avoid those fears and stuff, I gave a lot of mock interviews, some real interviews. I was just preparing myself. And after a certain point when I'm confident enough, like I scheduled with the companies which I'm targeting for, and
Okay.
I was lucky enough to crack them.
So you would have targeted companies from different countries, right?
Yes.
Different locations, work locations as well. So if you can like maybe talk about which companies, which countries, and like what was the surprises that were there, or the things that you felt like was sharing with the audience.
Yeah, so like obviously like I had like couple of like high targeted companies and some safe companies like I wanted to apply. So I applied in UK for multiple companies, and one of them is Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
In Amsterdam, I applied for Booking.com and some other several other companies. In
Mm-hmm.
Germany, also a couple of startups and
Mm-hmm.
a couple of like e-commerce websites and stuff. And in Austria also I have applied, in Canada also.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of the countries which is ready to provide visa, I got like interview calls. I got calls from Facebook. I got interview call from Microsoft,
Mm-hmm.
Google,
Mm-hmm.
even Amazon also. And I've cracked. I got offers from Amazon and Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
which was surprising. And the most surprising one was the Zoom offer, like, because I didn't apply for Zoom, and
Okay.
he contacted me through like LinkedIn, and reached me. So that's one surprising way. So that's something I found out. Like if your profile is good enough, the higher recruiters will come to you at
Right.
certain point. So I got like multiple recruiters who came to me without even applying.
Yeah.
And because of this all interviews going together and my preparation was at the right time, so I was is like it was not much of a pressure for me to attend all these interviews, and it was good like to like know a good balance of this.
Okay. Okay. So, in terms of your, once you got an offer from Zoom, and there would be some part which is to do with administrative processes, visa, then other requirements as such. How much of overhead was that?
To be frank, it was really easy for me because Zoom has provided me a visa consultation. They were providing me everything. So I just need to send them my documents. Apart from that, nothing, because they have provided me all the steps and all the necessary law and stuff like visa stuff and everything. So I just need to follow their procedures. That's it. And it was not a headache because I got my visa and everything within like 1 month or within 40 days, I would say. It was quite easy.
Okay. So, as part of the visa process and protocols, was somebody assisting you in India or not?
For me, like the team was located in Germany, and they told me like what to do in India and how to apply, like book your slots and when you have to go for that visa interview and stuff like that. And I just followed their steps, and I just got into like it was very quick for me.
Okay, so again, one of the like great things of like being in Germany and many other European nations is this, that the visa process is relatively simple compared to other places.
Yes.
There are not many ifs and buts. Another thing that I would like to talk to you about is the part which is to do with the interview process. How many rounds and like what all is like sort of
Yeah.
covered in those rounds, and how does one go about preparing for those?
So basically, most of the product companies they will have around four technical rounds and one behavioral round. So this
Mhm.
is pretty standard for most of the companies. there could be plus or minus one round, like there could be three or five maybe, but usually it is four technical round and one behavioral round. So in the technical round, what happens is, since I already have 3 to 4 years of experience, three of them were coding rounds and one was system design round. So it was like system design. I have to prepare myself. They will ask like how to build certain big products, like maybe design Instagram or how YouTube works and stuff like that. And you should have a deep knowledge of all the components and how your brain works. They are not looking for the right answer. They are looking for how you think and what's your way of thinking that. And other three coding rounds are pretty same. They follow data structure and algorithms. You just have to solve questions they are asked. So it will be like either one hard question or two medium level question. And this is pretty standard for all the companies. And there'll be a behavioral question to analyze like if you will fit with the culture of the company and what is the way of your thinking about like in a managerial perspective or in a casual way and stuff like that. Yeah, even most of the people will think that's an easy round, but that's also something we have to take care of and prepare for it. Yeah, and yeah, that's more about it.
Okay. So thanks for sharing that again, Yasser. One of the things is most of the people perceive that once you've gotten the offer, you land here in Germany or in an overseas destination, and that's it. But for people like us who have been here, we understand that's the first milestone, right? And then they start with the challenges, right?
Yes.
So what are the challenges that you're facing, and the challenges that you would want to give heads up to all the people aspiring to work in international locations?
Yeah, so like when coming to Germany, like after landing here, first thing you will notice is that not much people will speak English. So
Mhm.
you have to know some basic German, but it doesn't mean you have to learn a new language and come here. Nothing like that. I just prefer to learn on the go. So when you need certain stuff, like do some Google Translate and learn that and use that. So it was a big barrier for me. Then finding an apartment to stay because of lot of housing crisis and stuff. Finding an apartment is also difficult. And after all this stuff, the biggest thing is, since you are here alone and you need to have a good community support here. Without a community support, without a good social circle, it's always you will get so lonely at certain point of time. So
Yeah.
it's important for you to get out, find new people. Like you should do all the ice breaking stuff and like have a good circle of friends from different countries and different cultures. That will also help you to learn a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do that because I got to learn a lot of new stuff from different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we really loved about you is that how open to communicate and like build a community you are, and that's what we are also all about at Nybula, building communities. And I understand, and thank you for bringing that up because it's such an important thing. Another very good point that you brought in terms of accommodation, right? Because it's such a big headache. It feels like, yeah, in the end, it's just an apartment, right? But one of the things being this, that for regulatory reasons, your apartment or the address is tied to everything. Your the local district authority registration. That registration itself is then used by anything and everything that you go further, health insurance and such. So thank you for bringing these points up. Right now,
Sure.
what are your plans going ahead? Do you see yourself going to become like sort of a permanent resident here, or like are you thinking about those things? I know language is one of the concerns, but putting that aside, like what's your vision for the future?
Yeah, so my plan currently is to get a permanent resident here, and language is a barrier, but I wouldn't say it's a difficult barrier because once you put your mind into it, like it's not that hard to crack it.
Right,
Like get basic knowledge is not that difficult, I believe.
right,
So yeah,
right.
I'm looking forward to it. Especially as a software engineer, it's easy for us to get a permanent resident here because
Yeah.
we have a little bit more preference over others.
Yeah. Also, I would like to share with the audience. Actually, it's so as a software engineer, we are privileged, and it's not that it's not true for others. So for others, just the barrier to entry becomes a little higher. So you yourself are a blue card applicant right now, and you'll soon have it. And blue card is for highly skilled individuals. Software engineers qualify, scientists qualify, doctors as such qualify for the blue card programs. But even if you're not, it's not that you do not qualify. It's just that what your employer pays you needs to be a little more than like the rest of these in demand or understaffed professions. So again, that's a very good point that you brought about. And overall, as you said, that life and social welfare system in Germany is very high compared to places like United States. So maybe one of the things that we can talk about is if you have, now that you are here and you applied for other countries, do you what do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's better and that like surprisingly you got lucky or something?
And all the product based companies have this habit of giving you all the good perks,
Yeah.
and your life will be actually kind of good. And
How can most of the newcomers do that? Let's say from India and from other places who land here and start their
and I'm enjoying both the perks, like whatever I received in India or whatever I'm receiving here, it was there in both the places.
you acquire to get a job in Germany besides the core engineering and technical
It
skills.
should not be something you see from YouTube or Google and just copy paste it. It should not be that. It should be something unique to you. So 80% of stuff happens like how you explain it.